This is the story of Catherine and Jacques and how they met. A lot of people have asked me to sort of tell them the story. So here I am introducing you to the story of us.
You ever been so completely, totally done with dating that you just swore off love for good? Well, what if that's the exact moment it decides to come find you? Today, we're diving into an incredible true story that honestly feels like it was ripped straight out of a rom-com script. It's all about how the best laid plans can get beautifully ruined by fate. And this right here, this is where our story kicks off. After a really, really brutal breakup, our hero Catherine came to a firm conclusion. She was done. And this wasn't just some fleeting thought, this was a whole new philosophy forged in the fires of heartbreak, a definitive full-stop end to a chapter. So yeah, this was Catherine's new reality. After a devastating betrayal, she basically built these massive walls around her heart. Her world was all about cynicism now, a place where the whole idea of romance was officially, and you better believe permanently, off the table. Oh, and she wasn't just thinking this privately. Nope. Over a glass of wine with her best friend, she made it official. They literally raised their glasses and made a pact, a toast to a future completely free from men. A vow was sealed. But fate, as it turns out, had other plans. And this is where things get interesting. A single, totally spontaneous decision on a completely random Wednesday night is about to set off a chain reaction that will change absolutely everything. One little choice, that's all it takes. So how did this all go down? Well, it starts late, like 11:30 p.m., with just this whim to go dancing. They hop between 3 different bars, finding nothing, before ending up in this nearly empty gay club. I mean, it is the last place on earth you'd expect anything to happen. And that is when he walks in. Okay, and here is the incredible irony of it all. After swearing off men forever, her first thought isn't about romance. Oh no, it's about mischief. She decides that, even though she's done with relationships, there's no harm in having a little fun at some guy's expense. And just like that, a plan starts to form. So, fueled by a bit of liquid courage, Catherine decides to make her move. She leaves her cynicism and her friend behind and just walks right up to this stranger, ready to set her little game in motion. And this part is just hilarious because it shows the huge gap between how we think we look and what's actually happening. In Catherine's head, she's basically a supermodel gliding across the room, impossibly cool, totally seductive. But she's pretty sure the reality was a bit messier. Slurred words, maybe a bit of spit flying, and one genuinely startled guy. So what was her killer opening line? This. She calls it, and these are her words, the cheesiest line in the history of lines. With all the confidence in the world, she just leans right over his table and drops this absolute gem. And here is where the whole night pivots. Instead of being completely creeped out, this stranger Jacques, he plays along. Perfectly. He meets her cheesy line with this unbelievably charming, witty response, and just like that, he jumps right into the little scene she's trying to create. Catherine doesn't miss a beat. She stays right there in character and fires back with this witty, regal command. And the result? He absolutely loses it, laughing so hard he's practically crying. And in that one, single, ridiculous moment, a real connection was made. And this whole witty back and forth thing, it wasn't just for show. It worked. The conversation led to him joining Catherine and her friend for an after-party. And well, pretty soon the night became a lot more intimate. But the story doesn't end there. Of course not. The next morning, in the cold, hard light of day, Catherine has to face what happened and decide what in the world she's going to do next. So as she's walking down the stairs, her mind is just a battlefield. First, she sees him, and okay, yep, he's still here, and he's still very attractive. But then, bam, the memory of her vow kicks in. This was only supposed to be a one-night thing. By the time she reaches the bottom of the stairs, she's made up her mind. She has to ask him to leave. But just as she's about to deliver the news, he looks up, smiles, and says, this. He's right back in their game from the night before. That one sentence proved it all. The charm, the wit, the playfulness, it was all real. It wasn't just a fluke. And in that single moment, everything changed. Her resolve, her carefully constructed walls, her solemn vow to her best friend, it all just crumbled away to nothing. Looking at this man who was still playing their silly game from last night, she knew with absolute certainty she was in love. What began as the cynical little game on a random Wednesday night was about to transform into the beginning of a lifetime. So that morning didn't end with a goodbye. Not at all. Instead, it led to 3 straight days together. Catherine admits she actually tried to leave several times, to stick to her vow, right? But she just couldn't pull herself away. The connection was just too strong, too immediate to ignore. In that 3-day whirlwind, it turned into 10 years. A whole decade together, all sparked by the cheesiest pickup line in a nearly empty club. It's just wild how the biggest things can spring from the most unlikely places. And this is Catherine's ultimate takeaway from it all. That decade, the one that started with her swearing off men forever, turned out to be, in her own words, the best time of my entire life.